Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here from Mountain Weather Information Service. This is your planning outlook updated Friday the 16th of August. It's still a generally unsettled pattern. Low pressure is still nearby. We're seeing rain coming in frequently to western mountains in particular, and a generally windy picture on the mountains in the days ahead, and temperatures on the cool side too, so still not exactly pleasant for the middle of August. The week ahead still rather mixed. There's a glimmer of pressure trying to build, although that's still rather on the horizon. For the time being, it's charts that look something like this, with Saturday's situation seeing low pressure centred toward the northwest of us. A waving frontal feature will pass more or less just to the south of Britain, but it's a showery west by southwesterly wind that is in charge, and across western mountains, especially Scotland, those showers will merge into more like almost constant rain over a good many hours. The odd heavy burst may just give a local rumble of thunder in there as well. It'll be a windy day across all of the hills, gale or near gale force on many higher tops, and temperatures are cool. Just to run the rainfall sequence right the way through the weekend, and you'll see how the most prolonged rainfall is focused on western Scotland. This is picking up rain in 3-hour accumulations. Showers more scattered across Wales and the southern Pennines. The Lake District will keep feeds coming in off the Irish Sea. It's the Western Highlands, though, that takes the more prolonged, heavier falls through Saturday night into Sunday. Less rainfall getting toward the Cairngorms. Sunday again, it's a day of showers, some on the heavy side, and again that risk of an isolated rumble of thunder in those heavier bursts. So Sunday's chart looks like this. It's a westerly airstream that has its origins around Greenland, so it's a cool feel once again, and there'll be showers pretty widely, again at times merging into some longer spells of rain across the Western Highlands, showers coming in pretty frequently across western hills of England and Wales at times as well. Still a cool day, still a blustery day with the winds near gale or gale force at times across those higher tops. Cloud bases will vary. The air mass is not particularly damp despite the showers, so away from any rain there should be some breaks towards higher slopes, but on those windward mountains toward the west, more likely you'll have the tops covered most of the day. Not a great deal of difference in that chart for Monday either. It's still a cool, fairly unstable air mass. It's producing showers then, and at times some longer periods of rain, once again focused on western mountains, those first in the firing line for the systems coming in from the Atlantic basically. Showers will develop and track their way eastwards, so nowhere immune from seeing some rain at some point, but the greater risk of more constant falls is on western hills. Across Wales, again, it's a bit more showery, but still those western hills could see some frequent rain through the day. Temperatures, once again, are staying on the low side, with the winds not far off gale force at times. Bit of a window of sorts as we go into Tuesday. The driving low that's been around for previous days just pulling off towards the Norwegian Sea. We do have some further fronts that seem to be developing over the Atlantic though, and that brings the risk of some lowering cloud and some rain coming in across Ireland. It may make inroads into western coasts of Britain before the end of the day, but I suspect it's a day on the whole of being comparatively better with fewer showers. There'll still be a few around, but not quite as potent, and longer, drier, brighter spells. And with the air mass being relatively dry, cloud breaks to higher tops should develop quite widely, especially across eastern regions. It's not going to do a great deal for the temperatures though, which stay on the low side. Into the middle of the week, and it looks like fronts will make some inroads in from the Atlantic then, with a south by southwesterly breeze prevailing and areas of rain and drizzle spreading onto western hills in particular. The north and northeast of Scotland should escape the driest in this sort of situation, but low cloud and damp conditions look as though they'll plague many western areas. Temperatures may just nudge up a degree or so. Looking further onwards then into midweek and beyond, and we've got zones of high pressure, one which is trying to build around Scandinavia, one that is away around the Azores, but low pressure still quite a prominent feature around Iceland at this stage, so there's still some fronts to come trailing in off the Atlantic on a general westerly breeze, so some rain or drizzle, some low cloud, maybe something showery on the odd day later in the week. Detail, of course, is uncertain. Still, as we run toward the weekend, no immediate absolute build of pressure at this stage. Just a gradual tendency maybe from the models to try and shuffle higher pressure northwards, but it's a struggle really off this particular chart to get it to build just as time goes on. The pressure lines just begin to open out a bit across the British Isles, so soonest chance of drier weather settling in will be across Wales and then into northern England, and maybe slowest of all to improve across the West Highlands of Scotland, where fronts are still likely to keep coming in from the Atlantic if these charts are to be believed. So still a bit mixed. Just the trend, I suppose, of a bit of improvement as time is going on compared to recent times through the final week or 10 days of August. A little bit tentative with promising you too much. Sometimes we can have situations where it looks as though things will settle down and pressure builds quite strongly on the models at a week or 10 days down the line, and we get there and it never quite happens. So cautious, and particularly cautious with a chart like this. This is just one of the forecast models which is more optimistic, it must be said. That's the week as a whole through until the 29th of August. What it shows is higher than average pressures at middle layers in the atmosphere, quite strongly around Scandinavia, but that model would build that across the British Isles as well. So if this story starts to pan out, then that final week of August would look much more optimistic. As I said, I'd be a little bit cautious. I'd just wonder whether we still just get bothered by weather systems still trying to skirt in off the Atlantic, just being deflected a bit further north though, so it's west and northwest Scotland that is more grazed by unsettled weather as opposed to just being persistently underneath bad weather for most of the country. So some sign of optimism as we go into the final part of August, certainly compared to recent weather forecast charts as we go a week or 2 weeks down the line. We'll see if all that unfolds with something better for us. There's still some school of thought, even into early September, that we might be a little bit on the shaky side, so we'll see how all of that does develop. Often, though, these poor Augusts can eventually settle down into a good spell of weather as we go further into September. We'll keep fingers crossed that that's what happens this year. Stay up to date with us then every day in all your local forecasts for your area. You can follow us on social media as well. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.